First of all, I would like to thank you for all your positive feedback on the part 1 of these videos. We never really planned to make them like 2 parts, but it was too much footage, a lot of cool laps, and we thought it would be better if we actually split them and we have the Porsches all together. As you will watch this video, you will understand that this happened for a reason, and I think this video is going to be also very interesting. But before I speak about the actual laps, I want to very quickly speak about our relationship with Nankang. 6-7 years back, when the AR1 was a new tire and they want to launch it in the market, we got connected with Shane through a common friend. We did a funny video with tires traveling from Greece to Nürburgring, and the plan was to use them in the Ring Banana. But the Ring Banana wasn't working, so we ended up having Sergio's car to be part of the first testing that Nankang ever did on the Nordschleife. And that was for us very emotional in the sense that the channel was like very small and we just were trying to like have fun with friends and to be part of that original testing and have a little bit of our feedback being used on potentially, let's say, the development of the tire. It was actually something that felt very gratifying. This sort of cemented the relationship with Shane, and through the years we bought multiple sets of AR1s. I personally drive them in my MX-5 and in an upcoming project that you will see. But as I said, it's more like being part of a long history than one of advertorial that is basically saying like, cool, the Nankang CRS is very cool and you should buy it for your car. Absolutely not. Now, the second part, and what I also want to explain, is what we did at track speed. So the idea was to have Gab drive different cars, collect data, get his feedback, get the lap times. This doesn't particularly make for a very structured video. So if you have any questions that are not answered in these 2 videos, we are already planning to make like a part 3 that will answer all these questions. So feel free to give me your questions like under in the comments below. And I'm gonna play now that lap of Gab, which is a fantastic lap. Like, I have no words. Honestly, it is a fantastic lap. And even if you watched it last week, I want you to watch it one more time because I think it is absolutely fire. Like 1 minute and 20 seconds of your time. So I'm gonna roll it right now. And now we are going to jump in the GT4 RS, which is basically the same engine as the 992 GT3, but in the correct place. I want to hear your bets. Do you think it's going to be faster than the 992 GT3? The 992 has the advantage of more tire and the double wishbone. The GT4 RS is maybe a little bit more slippery, so it doesn't have that drag. Maybe it's a faster car, maybe it isn't. I will not tell you, you'll have to watch the lap. was a surprise.
For us, because we didn't expect this to happen. Let's cut to the chase straight.
Lap times.
This car was arguably 1/10 slower than the GT2, the GT3,
But
the theoretical is faster. And in this car, there is a mistake, and actually, you know, every other car, the laps is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but the other laps are clean, so there is not a significant mistake in the lap. Whether in this one, on my second flyer, which is slower than the first one, by the way, but in my second flyer, I made a mistake, like a measurable mistake in the last sector, which costed significant lap time. So I think at the very least, they should have been going the same speed.
But you kind of feel that maybe.
But I kind of feel like you can.
As they see today.
I feel like this has. I feel like this has more potential for two reasons. So one is like. You know, fact speaks louder than words, right? So if you look at it, I drove the car and I did 21.8, 21.9, 22.0, 22.0, 22.0. So this was not possible in all the other cars. Why is that? Because these tires were already heat cycled. So
we did some filming yesterday.
We did some filming yesterday, but it was a little bit of action driving. So these tires have been heated and cooled down at least once, while every other car certainly not to the
practically
same
unused.
Correct. So this makes a difference. We reckon in the area, like completely new, we reckon there is probably 3-4 tenths on this track. So if you add this, then this car is really much quicker than the 992, and which is surprising to me because I did not expect it. And I think part of it is the setup choices that have been made. So I am much closer to the potential of this car, rather than the potential of the 992. The 992 is...
You could change it more to be your style.
Correct.
I think the onboards are going to explain.
It is a different. This car sort of slides more on four wheels. Especially at high speed, you have a little bit more rear movement than the 992. Also the gearing being slightly different. The engine is the same, but the gearing is different. It's a bit shorter. There is certainly less drag on the GT4 RS.
Smaller wing.
So
there are some advantages to the
very
platform.
impressive. Very
I want
impressive.
to speak a little bit about the car. Like for me, this was honestly like a little bit like my dream Porsche. When I heard that they're gonna make like finally like a Cayman with a real GT3 engine, I said like this is the car, you know. And then they put all the GT3 bits. This has like basically GT3 9.2 GT3 front suspension, brakes. It has all the things. The only thing that they handicapped the car, and that is really pity, it's the front tire size. It is a little bit narrow.
Which is also connected to the engineering of the car, like having McPherson. This means that you cannot have some guitar. But it's funny because you would imagine that a double wishbone by definition is going to be a better platform.
One could say that is both a mix of the physical limitation of McPherson, how much
and
of
a choice.
Wide, and a choice, because like it's like Porsche, like
because
you carefully calculated.
Because you can fit 265s in the front of this. If you do this, then this is way faster than...
You might have a different car.
This is gonna be faster than the 992, even more faster than the 992.
What we're trying to say is that basically the last Cayman, because this is gonna be probably the last Cayman with an internal combustion engine, it's an epic car.
Epic car.
Yes,
absolutely.
maybe Porsche handicapped it a little bit so it doesn't jeopardize the GT3 and the GT3 RS, but it's a fantastic car.
Yeah.
Like everyone should experience GT4 RS.
But if you want to drive if you want to drive on track, so let me put it this way, and Porsche might not be happy about this. I repeat myself, like I think the 992 has a higher level of potential. So I think the 992 is going to be the faster car at the end of the day if you set it up right, etc. But considering these cars are pretty much equivalent in price point, if you want something that is just raw and arguably on the street feels very exciting, I would go for the 4RS. And there are a couple of things that I don't particularly like in both cars. The seating position, like the seat itself, is a little bit too upright. I am not aware whether or not you can...
It can be fixed. The aftermarket can take care of that. This is probably, by the way, for you Porsche guys, this is a very common complaint about
with the
Porsche
helmet,
owners.
you tend
with
to
the
have
helmet, in the carbon seats, they look fantastic. They are very cool. They are comfortable for the long trips, but they are sitting a little bit like in the wrong angle.
Too much up, yeah. And also the GT4 RS, I feel like it's too loud.
It is too loud. Like we have agreed. Actually, I find this very funny. On the first time I drove it, I found it very exciting. The second time I drove it, I said, like, this is a little bit of a gimmick, it's a little bit too much. And the third time I felt kind of bad, like you are like on public roads and it's too loud. But since we're on a track environment, this is absolutely not a problem, and the experience in there and out there.
I want to mention one thing. To be completely transparent with the viewers and listeners and whatever, all Wallapiros fans and whoever is watching this. Every other car has been driven a grand total of 4 laps, 5 laps. So I understand this part of this is actually the reason we are here is to see and test the new CRSs, right? We are just having cool cars as to see how they perform through a different varied range of vehicles, right?
Absolutely.
But some question will be raised, as in, fantastic, they are quick, but how many laps can you do at the speed? And what about the degradation? How many kilometers? So, of course, I cannot tell you how many kilometers you can get out of a tire, first of all, because nobody will be able to tell you really, because it depends on so many factors. He drove 8,000 kilometers on a set of AR1, so does this mean that the AR1s last 8,000 kilometers? No.
Not really, but
you can
do it.
And of course, this test is limited by nature in the sense that we are not driving.
We cannot finish the tires.
But every other car we drove until now, which is the Civic M2 and the Nankang, we clearly saw one trend, which is the first outing, like straight out of the pits, the first hit cycle, there is a peak in performance. So the lap times that you see are part of this peak. If you were to consider the second outing, every car has been 4/10 slower than its reference point. So the 992 itself was a 22.0, 22.2 I think actually, 22.2 on the second attempt. This car, you could say that it had the first attempt yesterday, so to speak. And we also had 2 attempts today as well. This car has slightly more laps, and this car did 22.0 after the bleed today, which means that it seems that while there is definitely a peak in the tire when they are fresh, then they sort of stabilize at a relatively high performance level, such as, yes, maybe this car can do 21.4, 21.5 when it's when everything is when the stars are aligned. Actually, 21.5 for sure. Probably this car can do 21.3, something like this, right? But
not by everyone.
But this means that after that you can still do maybe 2-3 laps at 21.8, 9, and then it stabilizes around that area, 22.0, 22.1, 20. Seems like it's a tire that does certainly a step from completely new, but then sort of tends to stabilizes, and it doesn't do multiple steps. It's not that the third hit cycle is another 4/10 and such.
And then it keeps dropping. What Gab said is actually exactly what the guys from Nankang told us. Basically, the tires stabilize after the second hit cycle and should be able to do this performance to their theoretical end.
Yeah.
This connects with our experience with AR1s because we have done like literally hundreds of sets through the years, through different cars, between the one-lap hero cars, our personal cars. I think AR1s is one of these tires that they actually have strong performance to the very end.
But the AR1s are not performing at this level.
No, absolutely. This feels like it's one tire up, but if it keeps that same trend, like the AR1s, that they do perform to the end, actually there is this sort of like word on the street that AR1s are faster to the end of their life, you know, when they have like very little tread. And I don't know if it's completely true, but
for sure it's not true.
It's not true.
Like, for sure, like 100% it's not true.
Anyway, this certainly feels like one step up,
yeah.
And it looks like it's ready to stabilize. This is just the first test. We have a long-term test. This is something that you know that I have been working for a long time. Different tires from brand new to the end of their lives. So we're going to give you like a reference. And as Gab said, of course, for every driver and every track, it's going to be different. However, we are sort of coming close to the grand moment of the day. We have one final car. If Porsche is true to what we said before, that they actually keep always the last card for the 911.
There is a saying that the best Porsche you can buy is the latest they produced. So although we don't have here a 992 GT3 RS to
we have a GT3
we
RS.
have a GT3. We have a 991.1 GT3 RS. This is arguably 2 steps back.
Yeah, so theoretically 2 generations back. But if it's true that Porsche actually always keeps their top model, the one being the fastest on track, that old GT3 RS
should not
is not
perform
on
at
the
the
top.
level.
I think it should be the fastest car here. I don't know. We can roll a coin.
Actually, I don't have any opinion on this. But basically, the engine is the same, right?
Correct.
So the same engine. It's
and
slightly
the tire?
lighter. So in theory, it's slightly lighter. It's still McPherson and not double wishbone, which apparently doesn't make any difference, according to the Cayman GT4 RS. Yeah, I'm curious.
So one more car. Let's finish the day with a bang.
Hopefully not.
I didn't mean contact. We shouldn't jinx it.
Man, this car is fucking good, eh?
told you it's going to be a banger, and it clearly was.
Yeah, I don't think the lap is particularly interesting to watch, the onboard.
Stop! No, just for a second. I'm a local, I will tell you that you don't come on a random day at Ceres circuit with no other cars putting rubber there. The track has been like basically unused for the last couple of weeks.
It was
weather
wet,
was very
yesterday, it was still damp a little bit.
And this track is not perfect. The tarmac is not very good. So when there are cars and there is a rubber, this track gets faster. This is not this day, which on a random day we did at most like 20 laps, 25 laps, that's that. And
plus, I don't know. I've never driven these cars before. It's, but it was. I have no reference. For me, it's. For me, fantastic. I have no idea what it is. I mean, you tell me that it's good, then that it's a good time.
It is a good time. We would never imagine back in the day that you would have a car with plates that you can drive on the road that comes here and it does 20. And then you can actually jump in it and drive it home. I know that there is a couple of cars that are close to this potential, but they were highly, highly modified. And the majority of the cars that we know that could do this, they had to run slicks, they had to have like crazy aero. This is a road legal car.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
Actually, if you put slicks on this.
Yeah. So the 992 is also was not as nice to drive as this for setup choices as we discussed previously. So this was...
this felt the one that was more to your liking.
Yeah. I mean, the Cayman is probably the one that was most to my liking.
Really?
Yeah, okay. Because not to my liking, but it's the one that felt more neutral. This one has still the issue that mid-corner I pick up a lot of snap. I used to hate this car when it was new because of this.
Told me the last bit.
Because the last thing is like if you drive 90% or 95%, it's fine. But to go really, really fast, the car was not happy.
I remember it.
This mid corner snap, and it still has it. But like this car, you can see that the setup has been done by the team here at Trackspeed, and it does it a little bit better than what I remembered. And of course, the tires clearly are leaps and bounds for what I remember. But the car is fast, very fast on the straight. It sounds cool. I actually like it.
Finally, we should thank Trackspeed. It wouldn't be possible to do what we did today without all these cars being here at top shape. We have been jumping from car to car, not a single issue.
Yeah, and it's interesting what you say. So clearly, thank you very much to all the guys from Trackspeed, everybody involved, Pamos, Labros, Bill, whoever is involved.
Todor is your guy, behind the cameras, behind the
everybody behind the scenes. And clearly, this is sponsored, you could say, by Trackspeed to some extent. It's their cars, etc. So
we are not paying for these tires.
We are not paying for the cars. We are not paying for the track. We are not paying for the tires. So this is clear, and you have to understand this. Nevertheless, we are not trying to hide anything, or we are not trying to make it look better than it is. We had unlimited access to a track that is extremely technical, and it has some problems, but it is extremely technical, which is a perfect place to really learn how to drive a car. And I am thinking of doing more stuff with this track for my own professional work because it's great.
It's a great training ground, man.
It's a great setup.
We have been saying this for years.
Difficult, very, very interesting.
It's a very difficult technical track.
And also the cars, they were prepared properly. We arrived, everything was there. Absolutely hats off to Trackspeed. If you are around the area or if you want to drive something in winter,
if you want to experience some of these cars, because I know
if you want to come here and drive faster than me,
please don't do this because Trackspeed is gonna hate us. But you can still come and enjoy these cars. For many people,
it's not impossible to be faster than me, I think.
Do not try that at home. But for many people, it's impossible to buy one of these cars.
Yeah, but you can try it.
But you can
try it. You can try it. And have no doubt. Have no doubt. The cars are prepared at a very high level, and the team is made of cool people. Everybody's passionate about cars, so absolutely have no doubt about this. And on the same kind of vibe, you know, Nankang is not a name that you would consider.
It's not a household name.
Like, there is no two ways about it, in the sense that if money is no object and you can put cap 2 hours every time you go on track, then my question would be, why are you even on track with a 992 RS, and why are you not racing a proper car with slicks? But anyway, this is another discussion. But if you can afford to have Rs whenever you need them, then you must have done very well for yourself, and you just absolutely do it. But I really, really want, the message that I want to come across is, there should be no stigma with the Nankang name or brand or whatever. And I'm not saying it because we did this. If the tire was good in the Civic, but not ready for a Porsche,
but in the heavy cars,
we would have said, actually, I said it. I think the 992, we might need to do some work to see if we can really unlock the tire. And
When the setup is more
when
right,
the setup
the
is more
tire
right,
is more happy.
when the setup is more right, the car is really fast and really happy. So it looks like it's really a matter of setup choices. So this is a tire that performed throughout, from the Civic to the M2 to the RS to the 992 to finally the 991.1 RS. So if you are a track enthusiast, if you want to drive on track, my opinion, I would not buy a set of Trofeos. I would not buy a set of Cup 2s. I would go, honestly, now either Cup 2Rs if I could find it, or this. I think this is the next best thing you can get.
I will add an extra dimension to this. Guys, you might think that, okay, cool, we're discussing Porsches and we're discussing Cup 2Rs just because it happens to be like a relevant tire in this. But for many people, if you have like a Civic, if you have a strange BMW, if you have like a JDM car with 17 or 18
what are you going to do?
You don't have Cup 2Rs. They don't exist.
You have Direzzas.
For all these cars that probably you run them on Dunlops or on AR1s or maybe on Yokohama's A52s, this tire is like it's up there with the very best.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we're going to do more extensive testing.
them.
We're going to do more extensive testing on this, like guaranteed. But I think for many people that they didn't have access to these tires, the cool thing about the CRS is that it comes in all these different sizes.
Absolutely.
Small from 15-inch wheels. Like there's going to be like even cool MX-5 sizes. I don't know if there is still MX-5 people left in this channel, but if you are, there are cool MX-5 sizes coming from small 15s all the way to 20 inches.
And a small point about this, this tire is not replacing the AR1.
Exactly.
Right. So we're discussing about the tires with the people that made it. The point is that the AR1s
remain in the range.
It will remain in the range, and it's potentially like in some sizes for very light cars might still be the preferable choice. But again, this I have not driven a very light small car, so you have to take it.
I don't think there is any point. We even discussed if we want to make like a comparison between AR1s and CRS, but I don't think there is any point. It's clear the CRS are faster.
So much better. I mean,
it's a better complete package.
It's literally a better product. It's literally a better product, a better tire. Full stop for everything, and I look forward to see how long they last. We will fit them to our own cars to see this.
It's happening. It's absolutely happening.
And these are not cheap products, but if you go out and fit the cheapest tire you can get, you're doing it wrong anyway.
If anything, this is one lap heroes, and we have been saying from day one.
Just buy good tires.
Exactly. If you put in one thing your money when you buy a new car, that is tires.
Yeah.
If you're gonna take it to the track, good tires. If you're gonna use it on the streets, good tires. If you put expensive suspension,
it's the
or
same
brakes
for bicycle.
or whatever,
you know what? For bicycle, it's the same. Which you would
physics.
Which you would think, what the? It doesn't, you know.
Absolutely
not.
not.
But if you put good tires on a bicycle, it's a different bicycle. So.
And these days he's more of a cyclist than he's a driver. Yeah. So
50-50.
That expert advice.
I am much better at driving than I'm cycling.
No, I didn't mean skill. I mean how much time you devote.
Okay.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. There has been a lot of cool laps and a lot of talking. I do understand this part might be long and it might not be interesting, but as we said, we are not making this video for Nankang or for Trackspeed or for anyone. This is a one lap hero video that has information. You hear it. If you find it interesting, it's cool. We told you how we think about the cars, the tires, and even the place. I want to finish on this since we're going to say goodbye from Ceres Circuit for now, but we are definitely going to return here. It is a very cool track. For me, growing up in Athens, coming here was also like a special thing. This is like 500 kilometers away, so we wait all year to come here and do this. It's a cool track. You have now someone that has driven some of the best tracks in Europe competitively come here and enjoy driving and say that there are things to be learned here. So if he says it, I have a feeling that it has a bit of an extra gravitas than me.
No, it's a really technical
It's a cool track. It's a technical track. Turn 1, 2, and 3, and 4, all
like
this high-speed stuff.
There is no straightforward corner here, which is really, really interesting.
So, very cool track. I think you're going to see more one-lap hero things happening here at Ceres Circuit.
And I think I will do more work here as well.
Correct. And maybe you can get coached by the man himself. So, if you come here and you rent one of these cars and you cannot come close to this lap times,
I will teach you. I will teach you to go faster than me. That's the goal.
That might be the only product placement in this video. That's all, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. A big thanks to everyone. Trackspeed, Nankang, all the guys here, and of course this fucking epic track.
Thank you, Kostas, by the way.
See you on the next one.
Ciao.
Gab, I want a favor. I want you to send it a little bit. Not my car.